Some movies I watch for the first time in cinemas and they don't really impress me. However, when I go to rewatch them at like a later date, I seem to find myself having a way better time with them. The reason I say this is just to say that I probably was a little bit too harsh on Black Adam. But also to say that Black Panther 1 was one of those movies. I don't exactly remember why I didn't really like that movie initially, like when I first watched it back in 2018 and like gave it a C plus grade or rating. But upon rewatching it, I realized that it was actually a pretty damn good movie. But the time between that movie and this movie is a decent chunk apart, as in the sequel, we're seeing Wakanda's post-Endgame struggles, mourning the loss of the Black Panther, King T'Challa, as the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, which involves the introduction of a new character in Namor the Submariner and his massive tribe of Atlanteans. Now, we all knew coming into this movie that it was going to be emotional in one way or another because of Chadwick Boseman's passing, which shocked the world back in 2020. It was truly something, but I mean, I just hope he's in a better place now. But yeah, a question I had, like, even before I had entered the theater was how they were going to describe his passing in this movie, and if it was like a satisfying enough tribute for him. And I have to say that it was. Maybe it could have been done better, but this movie deals with his passing in a pretty subtle way, and the description of his passing in the movie is very similar to what happened in real life, so I really have no complaints there. And there were a few moments of silence, like mostly at the beginning of the movie and towards the end, which definitely set the tone for the movie and helped us revisit some of his best moments in the MCU, so I fully respect that. Though I have to say, apart from those moments, there really wasn't much else, and I guess there doesn't really need to be, true, but not once did I remember one of the characters in this movie shout or think, like, during a battle that it was for King T'Challa, that the Wakandas were fighting for him. They were mostly fighting for Wakanda as a whole. And while the first Black Panther movie focused more on an individual battle, this movie was more of a collective battle, focusing much more on unity, family, and togetherness. There were a lot of themes of grief, loss, and we get to see the good and bad in both of the Atlanteans and the Wakandans. This movie was basically like a full-fledged war between two parties who fucked each other over in different ways, and that made for a pretty fun and action-packed watch, though I wouldn't say there was a whole lot of action for its massive 2 hour and 41 runtime that it has. It mostly comes in waves where each arc had its own action-packed sequence, but when we got to those moments, it was still pretty exhilarating and epic. I just love the action sequences in this movie, as well as the cinematography and the sounds, especially in the first arc of the movie where it honestly didn't even feel like we were watching a Black Panther movie. And that's the thing, for a huge chunk of this movie, it felt like it was missing someone. It felt like it was missing a hero, a main protagonist. It was missing a Black Panther. And while we do kind of get one towards the end, this movie, like I said, largely felt like a war, a battle between two tribes of the land and of the sea. So if I look at it that way, then the lack of a hero isn't really too big for a concern. And the fact that this movie, for a large portion of it, is still showing the Wakandan struggles of what to do after King T'Challa's death and not having a Black Panther makes more sense. However, being supposedly the end to Phase 4 of the MCU, at least movies-wise, I honestly didn't really see that in this movie because I'm still unsure of like where Marvel Studios are off next with Black Panther and with the MCU in general. But I guess the larger question will be answered when Kang the Conqueror gets his full movie debut in the new Ant-Man movie coming pretty early next year, which is the next big Marvel movie, I guess. Ultimately, Black Panther, I felt, was a pretty fitting tribute to Chadwick Boseman. The best part of the movie for me was Shuri stepping up and taking responsibility, as well as the action sequences as well. They were pretty exhilarating and fun to watch. However, I did feel like the story was a bit too simple, and the villains of the movie weren't really one of my favorite ones, and I guess weren't really one of the better ones in the MCU. I didn't really find myself caring for them too much. And also the movie was pretty predictable in a way. Like, it went almost exactly the way I thought it would go. Then again, I did read upon some of the fan theories online before coming into the theater, so there's that, I guess. And coming back to the runtime, at times this movie did bore me a bit, and I was like, get to the fun part already, you know? But still, I would still say that this movie was one of the better Marvel movies for sure. It definitely isn't the best, but it was good enough for me. I'm going to give Black Panther Wakanda Forever a B+. But yeah, tragic passing. Very, I'm pretty sure it was pretty shocking to the world back when Chadwick Boseman passed away. Yeah, this movie was definitely a powerful and emotional joyride, and I expected to cry coming into this, and I did. And yeah, I felt like it was pretty fitting. Maybe it could have been done better, but I felt like this was mainly just a tribute to Chadwick Boseman and like a stepping stone to the next big thing. Like I said, the story was pretty simple. Not too much happens, I guess. It was just a war between tribes, and it was pretty fun, and the action was pretty action packed. But there wasn't really too much other than just this war that was going on. But yeah, anyway, guys, I don't think I'm gonna be able to upload many videos, only of new releases to come, not too many anymore, because I got a job recently and I'm just getting used to things. So unfortunately, not too many videos that I can make. I probably will only just stick to releasing reviews for new movies, like the ones that I watch in theaters, at least. Mostly them, like what I was doing before. But anyway, guys, let me know what you think down below. Like and sub if you enjoyed, and as always, feel free to check out my previous videos. Until next time.